Today's background. Not enough Kirby's. Welcome back, friends. LostScarf here, and it's time for the vlog. I don't think we're going to make any friends this time, but before we get to that point, first up, channel stuff. So we now have two podcasts. We have Kirby's podcast, which has its own channel, and basically a podcast which don't have to worry about copyright strikes, so that's going on the main channel as always. Been doing like new episodes every Wednesday, so look out for that. We did Fine Art Student last time. This time it's going to be Verb again, because we can go over the Xbox showcase. And the next time it'll be an artist who lives off commissions and their store. So it's interesting talking about like running a website, running a store, how they got into art and all that stuff. It'll be pretty cool. That'd be great. It's some interesting what's coming up. I'm trying to get some game devs in. If not, there's always going to be like, I can try to get Spiff again in the future. I can get Mez again. There's a rotation of people I can get. There's a lot of artists I can rotate and get in as well. I just want to mix in, of course, games and gamers and other things like that besides art. Well, the artists are also gamers too. Everyone plays games, but that's more of an art focus, which isn't a bad thing. It's just, you know, we're a gaming channel, so I also want to talk to gaming people, of course. So there's that. Other things, a lot of stuff on the side channel. I'm doing like, right now it is Katamari, and then there's gonna be a bunch of indies again. I got burned out on indies again, but I did some indies, some pretty good ones. I just burned out again. D&Ds are on Saturday. I've been putting D&Ds on Saturday. D&D's pretty fun to do. At some point, I need to try to get a D&D group together when we finish this campaign with my crew. And I just got to get people who can definitely consistently show up every week. And I'll do that because I want to DM. And I have this big, like, year-long campaign stuff I want to do. It doesn't have to be the same people every time. Like, there's points in the campaign. Like, so it's a series of campaigns for one big overarching story that I want to do. And so, like, I can interchange the people because the way it works is kind of not necessarily generational, but it has sections to it. So it's like, heroes of this town. And then, so it's like, these characters come together for this part of it, and then they do stuff in this town, or from starting at this town, they go do their questing and everything, they come back, that's it for that section. And then the next section. And it builds up. So basically, the through line is this town developing over time with these adventurers there. That is the big thing about it. So it starts with a low-level town, and the town levels up over time as the players level up. So it'll be like a level 1, not level 3 town, level 4, so on and so forth. So it's a town that would be useful with level 3s. And then the questing here makes the town develop into like a level 4 kind of town, where level 4 characters would be happy to be here. And so on and so forth until some big epic thing for the level 20 town happens. So it goes from like a village to a city kind of idea. That's the idea there. That's this big campaign I want to do because I like writing big stories. So I want to write this story that goes from here to there. And so whoever wants to be there can be there. Like, and they'll have the characters here, and then those characters can go away for a while, other people can play, and they'll be here, and then maybe these other players show up, and then it's these characters are here. And so on and so forth. That is the campaign I want to run. That is the story I want to tell. And so that's what I want to do. So I don't need the same people necessarily who can be there for however long this goes, but they need to be there for whatever chunks so that they have their part in that story. And I want to build on these different points so that it's like these early characters are kind of like the heroes of this town, so that they get like statues and stuff. And even when you get down later on in the story, there's still statues of these earlier characters and things like that. That is something I want. Or like streets named after them. Just things of that nature. I want to build up this town. That is my big, ambitious idea. And it's something I actually want to do. The only thing that will hurt that is life schedule and the players' schedules. Because if we're in the middle of the campaign and they just can't show up, then it kind of just hurts it. And it's like, all right, well, maybe these people died and faded from history of the town, I guess. Or something like that happens. That kind of thing. But that's what I want to do in D&D. And that's something that eventually will go up on the side channel. Main channel stuff, I've been playing a crap ton of Paper Mario. We'll talk about that later. But I've been playing a bunch of it, and that's going to be an OP. Before that, I want to do Journey before we do that. Like Control and then Journey, then Paper Mario. That is my goal. That's what I want to do. I'll probably start playing Journey tomorrow. Because people have been saying you got to play Journey for years, and it's finally on Steam, so I should play it already. So Paper Mario after that. After that, it's like there's so many games I still haven't played, so I might play something that goes on the side channel. Maybe Ori 2, or Star Wars Fallen Order, or Hollow Knight. Like I finally played that because Hollow Knight is fun. I just didn't have the time to do a 60-hour game when I was playing it. Other things were happening, but we're doing a 60-hour game right now with Origami King. But that's it's Paper Mario. I like Paper Mario. It's really good. What else is there to say before I get into the meat of what's going on with me right now? Well, what's on my mind right now that could lose some people? I think that's it for the channel. So 2 podcasts, they're streaming every day, 5 to 8 every single day has been streaming, unless I decide to take a break. But I don't really take breaks, do I? Ever. Well, I do take breaks if I get sick, but that's it. When I have my back surgery, obviously I'll be taking breaks then because I don't have a choice. I won't be able to be at the computer. There will be art streams in the future. So really, the main LP for YouTube is from like 6 to 8, and well, D&Ds I do on Saturday, so that's the one day where it's not that. But it's usually 6 to 8 I do the main LP, and then from 5 to 6 is when I do whatever I want. So that'll be when I do indies, or I'll do FF14 or things like that. By the way, FF14 in August, there's like everyone should want to play it because you can play for free the entire base game and the first DLC. That entire thing is going to be for free in August, for free to play. Free trial. Free trial. Obviously, there's going to be stuff in there where it's not going to be as not good to play as a free player because maybe this or that, whatever. But there's going to be, you can just play the game. That'll be pretty good. So that's nice. You can play that for free. Okay, that's everything. No, before I get the thing on my mind, I should talk about the Xbox Game Showcase. So, I don't think the PlayStation fanboys have a really good argument. Their argument is quality over quantity. So, PlayStation owns Xbox. Like, that's a dumb argument. So, PlayStation has some really good stuff coming. Very good stuff. Xbox has some good stuff too. It doesn't look like it's not going to be on the same level. Like, I'd say, like, PlayStation had like these 9s and 10s and 8s and so on. Whereas Xbox feels like their best game they have is going to be like, they might have like 1 or 2 10s and some 9s and 8s and all that stuff, but it won't be as high a volume as PlayStation's, for sure, when it comes to the big games. But what Xbox has is their Game Pass, and they're going to have 100 games when the Series X comes out for the Game Pass. So by value and by quantity, that's a pretty good looking deal. So you have some quality games and a lot of quantity, while PlayStation's going to have a really strong quality, but their quantity ain't going to be as much. So it's really, what do you want to do? If you want to game a crap ton of games, and there's going to be some good ones in there, that's the Xbox. If you want to just play these couple really amazing games, that's the PlayStation. So it's your choice there. That's really what it is. And then as the libraries develop, then we'll see. I think, honestly, for these new consoles, the Xbox and the PlayStation, between the two of them, I'd go for Xbox right off the bat. You got a lot more games going on. In a year, PlayStation might pull out just so many good games that you should go that way instead of Xbox. Because they might just have enough that it will keep you satiated across the year. Right out the gate, it might not be. It might not be able to pull that out. Of course, they can do some ports of older stuff. That's what's going to happen. But Xbox looks like they're going to have a lot more of that. That's just how it is. The advantage I have is I own a PC. So I don't have to buy an Xbox. I just get the Game Pass or whatever games I care about, and I'm good. Because they're all happening on PC as well, pretty much. PlayStation doesn't happen that way. So there's an incentive to buy the PlayStation console because of that. But I think the Game Pass is pretty genius, so I like that a lot. I don't think PlayStation people have a good argument. I think both are going to be pretty good, and both are going to be worth getting for different reasons. And there's no reason to fanboy argue over this. There's a lot of good games to play. I don't give a crap. I can play whatever I want. I have the money. I don't need to... This thing, you don't need to fight over which one's better. They're both going to be good, so people can enjoy what they want to enjoy. Why do you care? That's really it. Why do you care? Aside from being able to talk about a subject, why do you care what someone else plays? Why do you care? As long as they're having fun. I've come to a realization. This is where I'm going to lose some people because of some things. Because I already lost some people already. I've said it many times over the years. I hate hate, and I think I've been able to finally get some real good way to word it. Hate is not very useful. Hate is worthless. Hate is, well, like I argue against catharsis. Hate comes from catharsis. I mean, catharsis comes from hate, and whatever way it was. Hate leads to catharsis happening. A lot of people do hateful things for catharsis. That still didn't explain it well, but that's what I'm trying to get at here is they kind of come together, but not perfectly. When you're in a hateful mood, you'll be absolutely shitty to other people. You'll be not a very nice person. You're not going to be great. You'll get catharsis from that because you'll feel better because you're laying into people because being a dick is very fun. People enjoy that. But it's not fulfilling or satisfying in any way. Being hateful, being cathartic is not fulfilling. It is not satisfying. For the moment, you feel better, but you don't feel fulfilled. You don't feel, nothing's really being taken up here. You just released whatever tension you had, but there's nothing fulfilling. That's it. You just released the hate and made other people miserable. That's all you did. But it's not giving you anything. You're just giving, but you're not taking anything. And you're not holding anything. And that's why I find hate useless. Hate is unfulfilling. That's the best way to put it. It's not constructive. It's not helpful. It's just worthless at the end of the day. You can feel better from it, but you only feel better for a little bit. And sometimes you'll feel like crap after. You break a controller. That's catharsis. You got really mad about something. You got really angry and you broke your controller. So that feels better for like a couple seconds because you released that tension. But now you've got a broken controller. What are you going to do with that? Nothing very useful with that. So a lot of people run on hate in Twitter. Twitter is a very hateful place. I try my best to curate it to be a happier place where I'm just following artists and enjoying all that. But then when the art community flips the hell out, then I don't have anywhere to go and I get to watch a bunch of people be hateful. So this is where I lost people. I can't remember his name. It's Bitch Hartman. What's his real name? Butch Hartman? Is that his name? Butch Hartman. But Butch Hartman is a piece of shit. We all know that. He's not a very great person. He's awful. He's not great. He's been selling art. So here's where it gets murky because there's a bunch of reasons why people are mad at him. He's been selling art, $200 commissions. One was a traced art. He did like a Roundup commission, and it's basically traced. Very little altered. It looks just like a basic Ranma, like actual official art. Looks way too much like it to not be traced. Even if it's heavily referenced, that's not a good thing in that way. $200 for that. Not great, because it definitely looks traced. You never should get paid for traced work. Another thing he did is he drew a character from Danny Phantom. And he drew it not in the same style as the cartoon. He drew it in a different style, and it didn't look bad to me. But he $200 for that. So that was his second controversy. He got $200 commission for this other drawing. And then there's all the controversies about who he is, and the things that make him a piece of shit. So out of this, these two things kind of got combined together, where you got to see the people who didn't actually know what they were talking about. Where they thought the controversy of why people were doing some of these things, which were in reaction to the second thing I said, but they thought it was about the first thing, and vice versa. And that wasn't very helpful. But that's just a human condition of just regurgitating other people and things like that. My problem has to do with mostly the second thing, because that's really where things got egregious, is a big viral tweet was, look what he made, and look at him, he made $200 commission off that. And people were like, I would do $20 max for a drawing like this. My commission would be this, my commission would be that. 200 is too much. And that is very unhealthy for artists. That's extremely unhealthy, because this is pushing that a $200 commission is too much, so that you should be charging less. No matter how good your art is, it should not be that much money, which is very not good for artists. That's extremely unhealthy. The other thing is just the layman thinking that's also too much. When you've got other artists who like 200, their starting price. Like they're normally in the 400 category, or even a couple hundred more than that. There are artists who do like 1,000 a commission because their art is that amazing. Or at least people think it's that amazing. This art looked fine. It's okay. 200, I don't see a problem with that price at all. But because it's Butch Hartman, people are flipping out and laying into it and just being really mean about it. And I'm just thinking like, this is extremely hypocritical because people were doing things that you don't do, things that that are taboo in art. Extremely taboo. You don't talk about prices like that. Especially if you're also an artist. You don't talk about prices like that. They dunked on him about his prices because they want to dunk on him. But that is detrimental to the self to talk about so negatively about commission prices. Not good at all. Laymen weren't helping with that either. Another thing was just people bitching about his style, saying this style is not worth $200. That is another taboo in art. You're just judging another art style. That is something that's not normally okay. Some random indie, this is their art style, you start shitting on it, people do fight back on that. They bite back on that. Just because it's some popular guy who's a piece of shit does not mean it makes it now okay to go attack his art style and say it's not worth this much money. Because there are other people who draw in that style too. And you're going to say, basically by that, their art style is not worth that much money either. That's what you're saying. There's no art style that under the sun only exists to one person. Plenty of people have a style that's going to be similar to other people. And that style, I've seen that style in other people's drawing before. So that is pretty shitty. On top of that is people, now there's a viral hashtag. My 200 versus his 200 versus Hartman's 200. Where they put their drawing, that's a $200 commission, side by side with his. This is another taboo in art. You don't do that shit with any random person. You don't do that shit with just someone else. You're like, oh, here's what you charge for 200. Here's what I charge for 200. Look how much better my art is. That is another taboo. So the self-righteous fervor of shitting on this guy who completely sucks. But still, because of the self-righteousness, suddenly it's okay to do these taboos. Suddenly it's okay to do these shitty behaviors. And it's not okay. This is completely hypocritical. And that is where I'm getting in fights with artists, because they don't think it's hypocritical at all. They think it's okay to just dunk on this guy by doing these things they would not normally do. This is something that I am just, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing it's not okay. It's not okay to do this double standard thing, where it's okay to be a shitty person if it's to a shitty person. No, you should just be a good freaking person. That's what it should just be. If you're a shit person, then go ahead and be a shit person. If you're a good person, just because someone else is shit does not give you the excuse to be shit too. We see this all the time in general, where people, they think they've got the high ground, the moral high ground in an argument, and they say the most vicious things. Like one is, I hope you get raped, or your sister gets raped, or someone in your family gets raped, as a reaction to someone making a rape joke. How is that okay? How is that ever okay? How can you defend, like rape jokes aren't okay, but I hope someone in your family gets raped? How can you say that and think you have any moral high ground there? There's no morality to being shitty to another person. To hunt the monster, you must become the monster? Is that what you're thinking? Is that what you want to do? It's not okay. It's not okay in any way. There's a separation between anger and hate. Anger and hate going hand in hand all the damn time. But there is a separation there. I feel like when it comes to anger, you can stop. You can catch yourself sometimes. Depends on how deep in it you get. Hate, can you really stop hate in yourself? When you get to that level? So it's better to not go towards hate. It's better to not be a hateful person, is my standpoint, is my thoughts. Getting older, I just realized, like, hate feels like an immature thing. That's what it feels like. Prejudice, racism, hate, all that shit. It just feels like something very immature. It feels like something that is not something that a good person has. That a mature person should have. Plenty of old people, of course, are very hateful and racist and prejudiced and all that shit. Truth of the matter is, age does not mean maturity. We can do better is always something I say. I say that in Scarf Improvement is we can do better. By the way, haven't really updated Scarf Improvement because I realize that there are some things where once you start making a list of it and you gamify it a little bit, it becomes more of a stressor in some ways. But what's important is you use it to give you the momentum and the routine. And it's definitely worked because I'm working out 6 times a week. I'm doing a lot of things I put on that list every day. So it definitely is working. I'm just not updating as much as I was before. Because the realization is trying to make it a daily update actually puts more pressure on it and can be a bit more stressful. The real thought is take a damn step back. It's very hard to do when you're in a hateful state. It's easier to do in an angry state than it is when you're in a hateful state. Because they're not the same thing. I just realized I'm being like Yoda about it. Anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. This comes from someone with a short fuse. A very short fuse. And I don't want that. I don't want to be that person anymore. I don't want to be an angry person. I really don't want to be a hateful person anymore. I remember a lot of hateful things. I remember a lot of self-righteous, hateful things I've said, thinking it was okay just because it was a shitty person I'm talking to. It's not okay. Things done in hate, things said in hate are never good. They're never fulfilling. It might be fun to do it at the time, but then you're just fucking empty at the end. That's what I'm really saying. There's the TLDR. I hate hypocrisy. And let's go a little bit deeper. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. Let's get some politics in here. I hate hypocrisy so much, and politics is so much hypocrisy, it is angering. A man sees Joe Biden wearing a mask and saying everyone should wear a mask, and he calls it, and this man will call it a muzzle, and says just trying to control everyone. Trump the next day wears a mask and says everyone needs to wear a mask. It's kind of important. Acting like he's always been wearing a mask. And the exact same person, this actually exists, the exact same person says Trump is a hero, he's a great man, he's such a patriot. Yes, we should all be wearing masks. There, that's bravery right there. That is absolute hypocrisy. And that's frustrating. You want another example? Let's go with the kneeling and standing happening right now. One man kneeled, Colin Kaepernick, and he was demonized like crazy. Now everyone's kneeling, a couple people standing, and those standing people are suddenly, they're the brave ones. Suddenly, they're the brave ones for not giving into the pressure to kneel. Whereas this man kneeled instead of giving into the pressure of standing. This hypocrisy pisses me off very much. I hate this hypocrisy so much. One more. The ACA is an amazing thing. So Romney basically made the ACA. This was the Republican answer to, well, healthcare. The Democrats were like, yeah, it's a good idea. Let's do it. Let's do that. Let's make this thing happen. And they did it because finally Republicans had an idea for healthcare and the Democrats didn't think it was that bad. So they did it. And then the Republicans, because they're very much anti-Obama, made it Obamacare. They called it Obamacare, and they just railed against it and railed against it and railed against it to the point that people on the right do not know the ACA is the same thing as Obamacare. So they're like, I love the ACA, it's really helped me out, but F Obamacare. Not realizing that. It's amazing. And so Republicans right now are trying to get rid of Obamacare, but they can't come up with a good alternative. Why? Because the ACA/Obamacare was their idea. It was their best idea. They can't come up with anything better than this for the conservative side of things. This is where hypocrisy freaking screws things up for them. So they want to just put us with nothing there, basically, when they want to get rid of Obamacare. But they don't have any good alternative. And that's why they can't unitedly do anything despite having so much control. That's how stupid it is. That's how stupid we are. You have any idea how many people vote Republican despite the fact there's a lot of programs the Republicans want to cut that would screw them over? Poor white people vote Republican all the time. Poor white people rely on food stamps more than anyone else. They rely on all these poverty programs more than anyone else. And they want to vote for the people who want to take it away from them because they don't want the immigrants to have them, not realizing it will also screw them over. For some reason, people think that they're special snowflakes that will not be affected by things. That's not how it works. Unless you're the rich of the rich, you're always going to get hit in a bad spot if you don't really know what you're doing. It's really dumb. It's a lot of just cutting your own nose despite your face, that whole damn thing, whatever the right way to say that is. So I hate hypocrisy. I see it in politics, I see it in life, I see it in so many things, and it pisses me off so much. And I try my best not to be that. I try my best not to get this moral high ground in me so I can be a complete shit to someone else, because I don't want to be a complete shit at all anymore. I don't want to lay into someone as some shitbag. Saying shit a lot. I want to be a pillar of something better, and that is what I'm going to do going forward, since I don't know when. It's a different thing. Because I feel like someone's going to be like, so you don't like Angry Joe? Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. There are things worth being angry about. There are things worth yelling about. And that's why I say anger and hate aren't the same thing. But hate can very much feed into anger. Anger can very much feed into hate and power it, but they're not the same thing. So that's the vlog. That's the whole thing. I have fun talking. I hope you have fun watching and listening. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.